So residential rents are rising at the fastest pace in the 13 years. What does that mean for property investors like you and I? Is it all good news? Are there things to worry about by these rising rents? I'm joined as usual by Andrew Roberts to discuss this trend. Andrew, hi there.
Hi Ranjan, and wow, this is a good news topic, isn't it? I mean, we've got record rent rises over the last 12 months. Depending on which source of data, it's between sort of 10% and over 30% rent rises. Wow!
But, Andrew, now I think the thing is, see, when we had COVID and the shutdown, rents fell a lot, particularly in city areas. Like in London, they fell by 20% or so, simply because people moved out of London. They didn't have to be in London. It was all shut down. So are we just not catching up from COVID falls?
No, we're certainly not catching up from COVID falls. I mean, if we were to look at like the London rents, what we're looking at is around 9% up on pre-COVID rents. So rents are genuinely up. Now, in certain areas, rents are over 30% up. And this is over a 12-month window that these are 30% up. And there are areas where there is huge demand. And there's actually a trend running through the areas as well. In the top 3 places, which 2 of them are over 30%, one's 27.8%. I found that quite interesting.
So what are you guys finding with residential rents? Are they increasing? Are they decreasing? Are they staying the same in your area? Let us know in the comments below. Any views on breaking this down? So, flats, there's single houses, and there's things like rooms in house shares and HMO rooms. Are the rents rising at the same rate in all those 3 categories?
It's certainly not rising at the same rate in all those 3 categories. Now, what we saw was worst affected were flats during the COVID lockdown. Voids were up, rents were down significantly, and competition for flats, well, it was a tenant's marketplace to pick and choose where they wanted. But what has happened is, as we've come out of lockdown and, we're here sat in your studios, we go into central London every single month to host the Baker Street Property Meet, and London is back to normal. It's buzzing. And what we're now seeing is demand for those flats has switched back so that there are more tenants than there are vacant flats. So the demand has shifted and the prices have moved. We still have demand for people who have gone for the lifestyle. And I was only talking to somebody from the Department for Education last week, and they were saying that their bosses were still allowing them to work from home. So the marketplace is diverged.
So remember to smash that like button on this video. It means that other landlords and property investors will get to see it. Also subscribe to the channel, put out new videos each and every week. Hit the bell icon, you'll be notified next time we upload. I think a lot of landlords are accidental landlords, not people that do it as a business, but people that bought 1 property or 2 properties as a pension. They're not doing it as a business, and they own them in their own names. They're affected by the Section 24 tax, which is basically a tax that people pay on the mortgage interest that they're paying. And we've done plenty of videos on this, and if you're unaware of this, I'll leave a link to one of our biggest videos on the subject on Section 24. But of course, interest rates are rising, which means that if you're a 40% taxpayer and you own 1 buy-to-let property in London, and that's the only buy-to-let you have, and you're not doing it as a business, and you've got a mortgage, your interest rates have just risen. So therefore, the tax that you pay will be rising, and it's going to be uneconomic. The more the interest rates rise, the more those unincorporated landlords will think this is uneconomic.
Well, you're absolutely right. And I was only advising somebody last week on that very topic. They have a property in Cricklewood, and that property basically has come available to rent. And they're making a decision. They're looking at what the management fees are for that flat. They're looking at what the mortgage is. and they're looking at the market rents and going, my interest rates have gone up 400%. Okay, only from 0.25% to 1.25% bank base rate, but their mortgage rates have gone up, and that is impacting their profitability. And with the EPC elephant in the room that we've also done a video on before, it's making all of these things all of a sudden become a pressure point for people to decide, should they exit the marketplace? Now, my answer to that is buy and hold the right properties. Don't just buy and hold. From time to time, you need to review if the mix of properties you've got is right. Now, part of this article was about rental prices rising at over 30%. Now, there is a trend here, and the 3 areas with the hottest price rises was number 1, Silverstone, over 31% price rise in 12 months of rents on a rental property, going from £1,009 a month to £1,318 a month.
Absolutely.
Rent.
And on the single family houses, there are parts of Kent, for example, where buy-to-let investors are buying new build single family houses because it stacks up. They can rent these out for £2,100 a month. They're buying them, and their EPC rating's fine, and all the rest of it. And that's pushing out local occupiers. Now, I mean, I've got an article here on residential rents rise at the fastest pace in 13 years from the Financial Times. But if I pull an article out of lefty papers like The Guardian, which I haven't got here, we don't have a Guardian here at all, but I'm sure they'll be writing it in a different way. Landlords must be stopped, rent caps needed now. I mean, isn't there a worry or are you at all concerned that all these rising prices is going to make those lefties want rent caps?
Well, I don't think rent caps are appropriate. I think
Oh, do I? They're not. Well, I'm not talking about you and I and you guys out there. I'm talking about those lefties who read The Guardian. Well, they think it is.
I think the
lefties... They think I should be in a soup kitchen. They don't believe we have the right to exist. So they will be jumping on this.
No, I agree with you. The lefties do think there should be rent caps. However, with the exodus and what we've actually seen, and you can refer to market reports from banks like Paragon who've published data on the percentage of landlords and homes that have left the rental marketplace as a result of Section 24 changes. We're talking to landlords who've got old EPC E and below stock, and they're talking about selling up their inventories because it's just not economic to upgrade them. So bringing in a rent cap is only going to force more landlords out the marketplace, which will force the inventory to be more highly demanded. And when we look at society and the way it's changed, I mean, we both have children of a certain age, and their attitude is, well, I don't want to buy. I actually want the flexibility to move around with my job. So it reduces the ability for employment to take place.
Well, there are lots of reasons why sensible leaders would want a healthy private rented sector. But as of late, we'll know that we haven't necessarily been blessed with sensible leadership here in the U of K.
Or a housing minister that stays for more than 2 weeks.
But listen, we have been moaning a lot, and tell us what you think in the comments below. But what we are talking about, and I must stress this, we're talking about the amateur landlord, the amateur property investor who's done it as a sideline, or the accidental landlord who used to live in their home and now they've rented it out because they moved elsewhere, but they decided to keep that one on. For a whole variety of reasons, those people are being pushed out of the marketplace. The opportunity is there for the property professional that treats property as a business. And you guys are watching this channel because you're not an accidental landlord and you are looking at doing property as a professional endeavor and as a business. And when you set it up as a business, then the problems that we're talking about are not problems. So there are opportunities now for the people that are doing it as a business to do it properly. to set them up, to set it up as a business properly, to finance it as a business properly, and to do this endeavour as a proper business, to mop up on these rising rents and this massive demand there is for residential property in the rental market, while the accidental and unprofessional landlords take the exit route.
Well, I also think there needs to be a change of mindset in terms of how we go about providing housing, because as a landlord, having a property in this street and a property on the other side of town and something on the other part of town as well, you spend most of your time driving around town. Now, personally, one of the things we do to make our businesses more efficient is we buy commercial buildings and we convert them so that we have density in one location, which means if we've got 8 call-outs, they're all in the same block. So we spend less time running around, our contractors are on site and able to deal with things more efficiently.
Exactly. And look, you know this is true, don't you? I mean, we've all played Monopoly. If you've got Bond Street and Oxford Street, it makes sense to buy the other green rather than buy Regent Street, rather than buy a pink one, the Whitehall or the Pall Mall. It always makes sense to have the concentration of property within a particular area to have those economies of scale. So get your Monopoly set out and play it, because you learn a lot from that as well as watching this channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon for new videos each and every week. Right, that's it for this video. If you want to keep up to date with all the latest goings on in the world of property, you want to come down to the Baker Street Property Meet, where you can network and meet 300 plus passionate property investors on the last Wednesday of each month in central London.
And as property professionals, we like to keep you at the cutting edge of your game. We will bring you the latest, greatest news down at the Baker Street. You can meet us, you can ask us questions direct from the floor. We love taking your questions live, so if you don't drop it on this video, come and ask it face to face at the Baker Street.
That's it for this video. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and see you guys next time.
You live in the USA.
I do live in the
You're over
US.
here on business.
Yes, I am.
And you've made a special trip to come here to the Baker Street Property Meet.
The quality of people here is better than quite a lot of the other meets.
Come all the way from California, and one of the reasons why I'm here, to meet like-minded people, other investors, build my network, and continue learning and growing in the property industry.
I found it's quite informative, and I can meet a lot of amazing people, so I keep coming.
Great knowledge in a great environment with like-minded individuals.